Good evening and welcome to Fashion and Lifestyle. I'm Siobhan Harton and I'm here with Siobhan McCarthy. And Siobhan is a specialist in healthy living and also how to save money with organic food and on your lifestyle. So welcome, Siobhan, to Fashion and Lifestyle.
Hi Siobhan, how are you?
Good, thanks. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got into healthy living and about money saving tips.
Okay, well, I originally grew up in Sligo and my parents grew everything in the garden. And so we used to eat everything ourselves from the table, and my dad worked up a mountain for RTE, so he used to bring home the spring lamb and all that kind of stuff. So I was always brought up with natural foods.
Good food.
Good
food. That tasted like what it's meant to taste
and made
like.
From scratch, and I still maintain that myself. The only tins I have in the cupboard are tomatoes and beans.
Right.
But, and then my mother got rheumatism when I was 14, so I wanted to find a natural way to help her. So I started researching at the age of 14 different ways, and then people would come to me with ailments and see, you know, can you help me here and stuff like that. And I found like making poultices, going back I suppose to the old wives really at the end of the day, made from herbs like marjoram, which is in your kitchen cupboard, which is more or less the same as oregano. And just making hot poultices and putting it on where your joints are.
So
and
that's really good for arthritis?
For rheumatism, because rheumatism and arthritis are completely different. And she got relief for 6 to 8 weeks, like she was in severe pain. And then she developed psoriasis. So always along the way, I was always looking for an alternative rather than going just to the doctor and say, give me a pill for this, give me a pill for that. And I suppose their lifestyle also influenced my lifestyle in the fact of trying to eat the best and not go for fast food. I had my first McDonald's, I think, when I was 21.
Really?
Yeah.
When you were 21?
Yeah.
How did you get away with that
I had no interest. No interest.
Yeah.
And curiosity brought me in. I had a fillet of fish, and that's all I'd eat for years, you know, that kind of thing.
Well, that's, I used to live in San Francisco, and a friend, the lady that I worked in the vegan restaurant, and the lady that I worked with, her son, he was the same, he was 25, he was brought up great, he was 25 when when he tasted it first, he was like, what's this? He didn't know.
I had no urge. It's completely different.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, like, I mean, making your own at home. I mean, you can go out and buy a pound of mince for relatively cheap, you know, and you can get all the ingredients, make it up and make your own burgers. And I mean, there's no additives. You know exactly what part of the cow it came from and that there's no horse in it. You know,
that's it, and the important thing is the adjectives, like in the E numbers and different things like that you don't know what goes in. Like, can you tell us a little bit about the E numbers?
E numbers.
Loads of people hear about it.
E numbers can be very scary, but I mean, E is normally, it's just the European stamp. But after that, there are some very scary numbers, and one of the biggest is E621, which is monosodium glutamate, or otherwise known as MSG.
That's mainly in Chinese and different things.
Chinese food, but it's in nearly all packets of crisps. Now, there's very few packets. Like Walker's, you'll have natural crisps. Potato King, all of those. That's why we all love them and crave for them, because it's an addictive substance. Pringles. Prawn crackers, pure MSG, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's why they're so addictive.
And it's the second most addictive substance in the world besides cocaine. Right, but it also can have severe effects on your intestines, and it can make you very, very sluggish. Some people will say when they come out of Chinese, "Oh, I feel so bloated." And that is the MSG. It's actually going into your system, and it's kind of creating an opiate effect on you. So it does make you sluggish, but it's very bad for your intestines. It can actually build up in you. So, I mean, I'd cut it out and maybe treat yourself once in a blue moon. I mean, now, I used to love my old King crisps, but now I might have half a packet once a month.
So that's E40...
E621.
Oh, 621.
Yeah.
E621. And is there any place that people out there can look and see
there's
websites?
There are websites, and if you just put in side effects of E additives, there'll be a lot of...
So you Google E additives?
E additives, yeah. And their consequences will be one of the things, because you can put in E additives and you get a million things, but if you put in E additives and their effects, or E additives and their consequences, it'll come up. Now, some of them are very scary because they have big warning, danger, and then they have ones that are quite safe because a lot of them are quite natural, so they're fair enough. They just have to have the European stamp, which is E. But preservatives in the likes of ham, pork, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of phosphates and potassiums and all that kind of stuff. That can actually lead to anemia in women in particularly. And it also can actually affect your thyroid and the function of your thyroid. Tartrazine is another one. It's a colour that is used in fizzy drinks. It's a very dangerous one for kids with asthma, for kids with maybe who might be a little bit more active than more. It can lead to actually attention deficit disorder. And Coke, forget about it for kids.
Really? For attention deficit
Yeah, but there's one thing that people should be really aware of is aspartame. Aspartame is in nearly every sugar-free drink that you get.
The diet.
Yeah,
Diet Coke
and it's in all the sugar-free foods that you get. And aspartame actually can lead to symptoms of multiple sclerosis, rheumatism, arthritis, MS, everything like that. And basically what it does, it comes into your body, turns into ethanol, which is a powerful alcohol, and then it turns into formaldehyde, which is used to preserve bits of bodies and stuff like that. But it can also deposit,
so it turns into the body.
Yes, and it can deposit golf ball size deposits in your brain, which actually obviously blocks the signals from the brain to your body. And there was a study done where this woman was wheelchair bound for years, and doctors were all saying, oh, it's in her head, it's psychological, it's all this kind of stuff. And her brother just didn't believe it. Now, it is in America because that's where it first came out from. And basically, he did the research and he rang her up one day and he said, do you drink diet drinks? And she says, about 10 cans a day. I'm just about to pop one open.
10 cans a day?
Yeah.
Wow.
And some people do, diet soda or whatever.
Wow.
And he said, stop drinking it. Do not drink it anymore. And please let me see the results. And within 3 days, she was walking.
From not drinking the diet?
The aspartame, yeah.
Wow.
Now, there is natural...
And it's found in other foods as well, you were saying?
Yes, it is. Nearly all sugar-free jellies, basically low sugar foods. It's in... But it's also in My Waddy. It's in sugar-free My Waddy, but it's also in the ordinary My Waddy. It's in sugar-free Robinsons. It's in all those drinks that you think you're doing your child a favour for. And when we discovered it, we just dumped everything in the cupboard that we thought was there because we didn't want our child growing up with this.
Not. And it's hugely important to give your child as they are developing really good food. And a lot of people think cereal is really good.
No, cereal's a quick way out. Right. But all your cereals have a lot of salt and a lot of sugar. And I know from working now in a primary school at the moment, you get some of the kids coming in and you can smell mucus coming out of their mouth, but they've had a really sugary breakfast and it's the cereal. And they'll be boomf like this when they come into school, like this, and they'll drop after an hour and they're like this and they feel sluggish. And all it is a quick energy boost, whereas the likes of oats, which is slow releasing in sugar, or some fruits in the morning are much, much better.
And you were saying about Cocoa Pops as well.
Cocoa Pops, salt. Yeah, they're saying if a child has an average bowl of Cocoa Pops every day for a year, your average Pyrex dish?
Yeah.
Well, that heaped would be the amount of salt your child is intaking for the year. And we all know what salt does.
Yeah.
Leads to high blood pressure, hardening of the arteries and stuff like that. So, I mean... I'm not spouting my own trumpet, but I brought my son up organically, right? He had his first taste of chocolate when he was 3, and I could kill my husband for giving him Maltesers. But, I mean, it was only a treat every now and again. Yeah. But we also give him a thing called acidophilus, and it's lactobacillus, and you hear it as a probiotic or a prebiotic. Yeah. But he's never had a sick stomach since he was 6 months old, and that was just from his bottle. But he's now 11. He's very
from taking
the acidophilus. Now I give him a break. I think if you take everything all the time, you become immune to it, like the likes of echinacea and.
Because you're only meant to take echinacea for
twice a year for 3 times a week. Yeah, and I would give that to the child before they start school.
Right, and that's normally after you take antibiotics as well.
Well, the acidophilus ideally you would take with the antibiotics.
Right.
And the likes of, these little drinks that they're saying that has the lactobacillus in it, they're full of sugar. They're not really
Okay.
all they're cracked up to be.
And so it's like it's like the salt, you know, there's no need to add salt or anything. So it's already provided in it. And if we just go back to the oats as well, like, do you know the oats that you were saying to take, you know, there's the ready-made meals that, you know, that you just put in the microwave, like how good are they, or how?
Well, there are ones that you can do in the microwave, and they're the ones that, you know, like Ready Brek that the kids love. My fella loves it. He doesn't like the normal oats because it's too clunky in his mouth.
Yeah.
And he has it either with, it's called stevia, or he has it with honey. Now, stevia is made from a natural plant product.
Right.
It was banned here years ago from coming into the country because we had a raging beet industry for sugar beet. So they blocked it from coming into effect, so it wouldn't affect the industry. But it's been around for 100 years, hundreds and hundreds of years, and it's now available everywhere. And you can pay €20 in the health food shop, but you can pay $5.95 in Tesco's for it. And it's just as good, because the likes of Canderel has aspartame in it. So they would recommend Splenda, but stevia is much, much better.
Right.
Because it's not actually sugar.
Right.
It's a natural sweet product from the plant. And that in the morning.
That as well.
Not here. No.
Okay.
It's like the acai berry that you see in juices. That's been around for 1,000 years, and it boosts your immune system and boosts your self to study and stuff like that. And it's brought in here, all right, and processed.
That's the acai berry.
Well, some people call it acai.
Acai, yeah.
And I was listening to whoever the owner of Innocent is, and he called it acai. He met the man who actually, he's 103 or something. Yes.
And we want to get to that later, actually, in the show, is good foods for if you're studying and stuff. But I wanted to, because there's a real concern for, and a lot of parents that I know, their kids won't eat good food, like carrots. Is there any tips that you can give on that? Or, you know, veg, or any tips that you can put them into different foods?
Normally, I think it's an inherited thing. If you don't cook it, they won't eat it. I mean, I can't eat cauliflower or Brussels sprouts because they make me gag, right?
Right.
So I've never cooked them at home,
okay.
right?
Yeah.
But generally, we eat everything. So I think it's an inherited thing. If one person doesn't like it and you don't cook it, it's inherited. But you can disguise it. I mean, when they're babies, they tend to eat everything. Like, I mean, my fella just ate everything, and he survived on holidays on prawns and garlic and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think if you get their taste buds going early when they're really, really young. I had a friend from New York. She was Bertolt Brecht's granddaughter, and she said what they used to do is put garlic and champagne on the baby's lips when they were born. So they would eat absolutely everything.
Really?
But I mean, any of
garlic and champagne.
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
a very highfalutin.
Yeah.
But I just think, like, I mean, any of my friends who I know that their kids eat everything grew up in households where they grew everything and ate everything. And I just think, even if you get your child maybe to plant a few carrots in a pot outside, that to see what they've actually grown and to bring it in and to eat it is a different thing.
Yeah.
Or else, my fella loves raw carrots. He'll eat them cooked, but he loves raw.
Yeah.
So try them on raw
My
vegetables.
nephew's actually going through, he's 4, and he's going through a phase of raw carrots. And actually just saying that there was a tomato plant in the window, and he used to love picking them off and eating them off that.
Yeah.
But there's another in we spoke about this outside, or in the room earlier, and it was about putting stuff in to make cakes, you know, veg for cakes. I thought that was a really good idea.
For kids that may be lactose intolerant or dairy intolerant and stuff like that, you can actually get, the American name for them is zucchini, but we call them courgettes. And you can actually blend them up, and it actually works like a butter, and you can make the most marvellous muffins with them. And like that, again, if they're intolerant to dairy, there is an extract you can get, it's called carob, and it's like a chocolate.
Yeah.
And you can actually put that in, and you can put all the different toppings. But I think the best way to engage your child to actually eat food is to engage them in the cooking process. You know, let them help you when you're making dinner. Let them bake with you. Like with my routine with Jack before he started rugby was to bake every Saturday, and we do different things. And now he'll just kind of get the bowl out and start himself. Of course, I have to finish and clean up. But
typical man.
But that's the thing, and it's all about, I suppose, everything in moderation. I mean, I'm not saying cut all the junk out or anything like that, but there's nothing wrong with the treat. But I also think that children have a very handy today in comparison to when I was growing up. Like ice cream and stuff like that was always a treat. It wasn't an everyday thing. Or getting chocolate once a week, like they do in the schools with the healthy eating programs. you're allowed a treat once a week, but there are certain items that they will never allow into the schools. And I think all schools should have that. So they have the balance in the school, and the kids will come home and say, Mommy, let's try this. You know, and a lot of it, it's actually quality time, so it's a holistic thing.
Yeah,
you know?
And it's play with the kids as well. And also, like, is there any websites that people can go to for tips on? Because you know the way some people get really fed up with all they can cook is one meal, normally potato, veg, and the potatoes are normally boiled to the last.
But you know what the best is? YouTube is magnificent for having chefs on. And you can just type in whatever, you know, new ideas for chicken or something like that. But there are different websites. I haven't found any amazing Irish websites, but BBC do good food. And you can get tons of recipes on that, and they'll have the video with it to do it step by step with you. So I think you'll have a bit more confidence, like someone's in the room with you.
Yeah.
You can also get it
and
for your
you
DS.
Stop it and
you can stop it and pause it. Yeah. And I think, like, if you get the whole family involved and just say, let's try this. Now, between 4 and 5 is a difficult age because they just go, not trying it.
Yeah.
But try them with fruit and stuff like that. There was a programme done a few years ago, and I think they're doing it again this year. It's called Food Dudes in all the primary schools. And they bring in different fruit every day, and the kids get to try it. And some will say, oh, that made me want to puke, or whatever. And some of the parents after said, oh my God, my fellow wouldn't eat this at all. But once it was brought into the school, the odd grape, the pieces of apple and stuff like that. But you have to buy the actual fruit itself, because you know the little bags that you can get as sliced apples?
Yeah.
There's preservatives on those.
To keep them fresh.
To keep them fresh.
Yeah.
And, it's still another chemical you're putting inside the body.
Yeah.
And all of these, I think, are leading to children getting bigger. They're getting, I suppose, puberty early, all this kind of stuff, because of all these chemicals are constantly going into their bodies.
There's loads of different
And, when we started on this lark of watching our e-additives and everything, it used to take us 2.5 hours to go around the supermarket because we were reading the labels and everything.
Yeah. Is it really annoying to do that? Because I could imagine, because I just grab off the shelf. Like,
no.
How do you get into a routine?
You get over it, because then you know. But then you have to do spot checks, because ever so often they throw something in, and I say, I'm not doing that, because we're kind of ethical shoppers as well. Because if we find something with palm oil in it, well, we won't do it, because they're stripping the rainforests, and the orangutans are being affected because they're planting palm to go into the likes of these low-fat spreads, and to go into your hair products. They even put them into certain crackers. So ever so often we'll do the odd spot check on stuff.
Yeah.
But once you get to know what you want,
you kind of know.
You know what you're doing. And the fact that we cook from scratch as well, except for the odd crackers.
And then tell us a few tips on how to, because it's coming into exam time as well, and the importance of what foods is good to keep the energy level going, or, for study.
Basically not a lot of sugary foods. And I know it's quite convenient to go and get something that's sugary, but plenty of fruit and plenty of kind of fibre as well. And I would say the likes of oats and stuff like that with your fruit and your nuts, even snacking on nuts like the cashew nuts, Brazil nuts, almonds. They're very good for your concentration and for your serotonin levels. There's also fish oils that are brilliant. They're you can get Eskimo oils. It's omega 3, 6 and 9 basically, and they're very, very good for helping you concentrate.
And where would you get that?
You can get them in most health food shops, and some chemists do them as well, and some places will do specials on them, buy one get one free. But they're also very good for children who have ADHD as well. It tends to calm them down and help focus the brain. But then plenty of oily fish as well, the likes of sardines, mackerel from a tin, all those kinds of, if people like it, on whole wheat toast. They're very good. They're getting into you, they're slow release, but they're very good for your brain, but they're also very good for your body in keeping you going,
Because the oily fish is good for the brain development. And also just on the organic side of things and the expense of it, compared to, because a lot of people will put up the subject of that is too expensive.
There are some things that are too expensive.
And they won't want to grow their own as well.
I know, and I mean, even growing your own doesn't mean it's organic if you're using fertilisers. But there are a lot, like the likes of Lidl does a great range of organic fruit and vegetables, and the flavour is very, very good. Now, I would say for the likes of carrots and stuff like that, go for organic. For the likes of exotic fruits that you have to peel, you know, like oranges and bananas, not to use them.
Not to go organic on
the exotic fruits. There's no need.
Because of the skin on them.
The skin is on them, so it's protecting them. But the likes of stuff that you have to take from the ground where pesticides or fertilisers might have been used, go for the organic carrots. I mean, I think a bag of carrots in Lidl is $1.29. You know, but also there is the thing of...
What about the milk? The organic milk?
Well, that's what all we use at home, really, is the organic milk. And I mean, we used to use a very popular brand that they actually don't produce it themselves. They buy it in from organic growers. But we've discovered now, and I presume it's the same people, just a different label, but in Lidl, Aldi and SuperValu, even Tesco are doing their own now. You can get a litre for 99 cents, whereas the brand we used to buy was 1.65. So that's like a huge difference. And then there's another one, it's good for you, and it's 2 litres in Tesco's, and you're always getting specials. And I think that's 1.50. You know, so you can, and it's not that you have to shop around. I mean, most people in smaller towns, the shops are quite close. I know the likes of Lidl and Aldi are nearly always on the outskirts of towns, but everybody knows someone who maybe has a car. But then there's also the thing about collective buying, that, you know, if someone can't afford a package by themselves, they can share it, because then you're having your food, it's fresher, you're not trying to make it last the week or the 2 weeks while you do your shopping, and then you can split the costs with people.
But that's a very clever idea,
well, especially for people
buying.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that before. People doing collective buying. Is it a new thing, or is it?
No, it's just something I suggested one time. And there's a course that I'm hoping to deliver eventually when it comes to being. But it's basically everyday money saving tips for teenage mums and teenage mums to be. And like, not all of them are living at home and they're living in a flat, but a lot of them live closer together.
Yeah.
So not just for them, but for your community, for your neighbours or for your friends. Nearly always one person knows someone with a car who can go buy a bag of potatoes, buy a big thing, and I mean the staple foods, buy them all and you share them, so you've no waste.
Yeah, and that brings us on to the course that you do. In that course for teenage mums, which is a great idea. I think the collective shopping is brilliant, and you know, if you had your sister living by or something like that, it's a brilliant idea to do that, and college students and different things like that, because that's what we used to always do in college, is collective buying. But so tell us a little bit about it, because I think this is a fantastic course. It's for teenage mums, and it's for saving. It's how to budget and
how to look at where your money's going, and how to see, well, where can I make the saving, but to be the best for yourself as a young mum and for your child as well. I mean, how do you look after yourself if you're pregnant? Where to go for clothes, or like the likes of the charity shops these days are just brilliant for everything like that. You can go in and you can get fabulous designer stuff in perfect nick for €3 or €5, you know. And also, it basically what it is to relax the mothers as well, to say, okay, you're young, you have a huge big thing ahead of you, and fair dues to you for going ahead with it, and how to not be in a panic, and how to the best way forward for them and their child, or their child to be, and from a holistic point of view of where you can go in, like then again the collective buying, you know, the nappies, all that kind of stuff.
It's a huge expense.
It's a huge expense.
Okay, so you're going to start this is a whole different level of shopping for them.
It is, and also like there's a new shop out. I don't know if it's everywhere yet. It's called Deals, right? So everything in it, you go in, it's $1.49. Like you can get 12 bottles of water for $1.49.
12 bottles of water for $1.49.
Yeah, and they do milk, and they do some food products, and Nando's peri sauce and stuff like that. But they do, you know, bird feed, but they do little baby clothes, but they do all the wipes, they do everything like that. And if you're not conscious about using like chemical I suppose, wipes and nappies and stuff like that, and you're on a budget, it's a great place to go, and the quality is very good. But then if you have a few pounds to spare and stuff like that, there's a great, what we used with Jack, they were called Eco Baby nappies, and they were delivered home to us. Now they worked out about 1 cent more, right, per nappy than your normal nappies, but because they're not made with bleach or anything like that, they're purely made from recycled materials, and they're fully natural, and you can put them in your compost bin because they're disposable. They break down, I don't know, fairly quickly now, and they're delivered to you.
Oh, they're delivered.
Yeah, so it's ecobaby.ie.
Right, and it's that more expensive, is it?
Just 1 cent more a nappy, which isn't that much.
1 cent more a nappy.
Yeah, but the thing is, we didn't have to use anything. He never got nappy rash.
And they didn't, because sometimes I've heard about eco nappies that you have to use them more, like kind of change.
None of that at all.
More.
They're not white, but sure, who cares? You're not going around saying, look at my nappy or the baby's now. Yeah, and they are, but they don't, like, there's no chemicals, so there's no reaction to nappy rash. And, you know, when babies teeth, right, they tend to get scalded and they're drooling and all that. Yeah. And it's not the same either. And there's a new train of thought. I was in Austria there last summer, and what they're using over there for their babies for the teething is actually a little amber bracelet or a necklace.
I saw that, the amber necklace.
Yes, and you can get them in the health food.
But there's lots of people say about those that the amber, the drool is good for the teeth.
The drool is good for cooling it down, but it takes the pain away. That's what it's for. It's not just for the drooling. It's to take the pain away. And
but I've heard it works.
And then there's it's called Tida. It's chamomile powder. So it's made from pure chamomile, which is a very calming effect. And you just sprinkle it on their tongues, and it just calms them down when they get overexcited or they're just so stressed out by the pain that they're suffering, you know, and just kind of keeping them cool. And I mean, they can research crystals online as well for their babies.
Where would they look up? Well, you said Eco Baby. Is it
www.ecobaby.ie.
And is that where can they get those reusable nappies on that as well?
Oh yeah, they do all the different ones, and they have the Sherpa type ones, and they've everything on there. Right. They have chemical-free baby wipes that sometimes they throw in depending on how much you order. Right. But like that again, it might be more economical for some parents to actually share it.
Yeah, and bulk buy.
And bulk buy. Like maybe they use their parents' mother's allowance or children's allowance once a month to buy certain things. Yeah. You know.
And then the what do you call it? Like the kind of the key thing that I'm thinking of here is that it's to shop around, to look for the best places to get.
Yeah. But that's not the whole thing about it. It's also some girls are still living with their parents now. Some parents are quite happy to be the grandparents and bring up the children. Other girls are maybe not so fortunate, and they find themselves in a flat, and they might be so overwhelmed by everything that they don't realise that there are services there that can guide them to where they could get maybe council housing, or, you know.
So what type of services?
They can go to Citizens Advice, or they can go to the local council, or go to their local politician. And they mightn't be getting all, you know, the allowances that they're entitled to. Right. Also, the fact is that some of them might have got caught out, you know, when they're still in education, and what's available for them there to go back to continue education, you know, if they're lucky enough that they have someone to mind their children. So it's all about, it's all the holistic thing about. It's not just you and the baby, you're tied down, you can't have a life. Your whole lifestyle, yeah.
And if we're actually running out of time now, and if there's, where can people get it? Because you're going to do a course, you're running courses on this, you're running courses on saving, and we actually didn't get into the whole saving things because there's just so much information. Siobhan has so much information in there. But if you wanted to get hold of Siobhan to run a course, or to where she's running a course, what's your details, Siobhan?
Well, I'll give you out my email address.
Talk into that camera there in front of you.
My email address is Siobmac, SIOB for Bertie, HM for Mother, CC @aircom.net, and you can email me there and give me all your details, and I can give you a buzz back. I don't actually have a business mobile yet, but I hope to have one soon, and any queries you have, or if you want to contact Siobhan here, I'll pass them on for you.
And that be at drumlinmedia@gmail.com. Siobhan, thank you so much for coming in and sharing all that information. I think every young mum could do it. Actually, every mum, you know, young or middle-aged, or could do with running that course. Actually, even myself doing that course, not that I'm anyway in the form of getting pregnant or anything like that, but that's all we have time for. Thank you very much for watching Fashion and Lifestyle. I'm Siobhan Harton. Good night.